It is 7 a.m., 7 p.m. Oh, whoa. Starting off messed up. You can start.
Councilwoman Rebecca Burrow.
Present.
Councilwoman Samantha Whitfield.
Present.
Councilwoman Dr. Tiffany Worthy. Deputy Mayor Nathan Anderson.
Present.
Mayor Katie McIntosh.
Present.
For the prayer, I have Chaplain Cruz from the Williamsboro Police Department.
Okay.
Good evening, Mayor,
Good
Deputy Mayor, and all council members. Let's have a moment of prayer. Father God, we thank you. Most Holy Father, great and mighty you are. We thank you for your presence in this room tonight. We invite you to remain in this place because unless the Lord builds this house, the builders labor in vain. We thank you for being with us and walking with us through this time of transition in our nation. No matter who sits in the Oval Office, God, you're still on the throne. We pray for our leaders nationally and locally. We pray for each other, and we will continue to pray without ceasing for our community. We pray for your guidance, God, for your protection, for your forgiveness, for your restoration, peace, and love towards one another. You have commanded us to love one another as you have loved us. We specifically ask you, Lord, that you guide the leaders here tonight, that they be led by your wisdom, compassion, righteousness, love, and purpose as they serve and unify the families of Willingboro. We thank you, Father God, because you hear and answer our prayers according to your will. In Jesus' name, amen.
Amen. All right. We will have our flag salute. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Notice was provided in compliance with Chapter 231 of the Public Laws of 1975 to the Burlington County Times, Trenton Times, and Philadelphia Inquirer, stating the date, time, place, and the agenda to the extent it was known. Additionally, notice was filed in the office of the Township Clerk.
Thank you. Before we get started, I do just want to acknowledge that we did experience a tragic and devastating loss of two residents last week, Catherine Nunez and her mother, Marisol Nunez. These two members of our community lost their lives in a heartbreaking and act of violence in their home. So I just want to take this time to have a moment of silence for them, and, as we just pay our honor to our residents. Thank you. And I do want to just emphasize that this was not a random act of violence. However, our police force did a tremendous job working with the Burlington County to deliver our suspect. But as a community, we just want to continue to stand together, making sure we do invest in our police system so that we can try to prohibit this from happening in the future. So thank you for acknowledging our residents. We're also going to move on a lighter note. We did have two former Willingboro graduates. They've been inducted into the Wrestling Hall of Fame. So I'm going to give Deputy Mayor Anderson the honor of, do us the honor of presenting. I think you're gonna do one. Okay, that's fine.
All right, and I also want to acknowledge that Tom's father's here,
Okay.
Tom Senior. Proclamation in honor of Thomas Scotton. Whereas Thomas Scotton, a 2006 graduate of Willingboro High School, has achieved remarkable success in the sport of wrestling, exemplifying dedication, resilience, and athletic excellence. And whereas during his high school career, Thomas earned 3 District 25 titles, 2 Region 7 titles, was a 3-time state qualifier, and achieved an outstanding record of 135 wins and only 13 losses, culminating in a 5th place finish at the National High School Coaches Association Senior National Tournament. And whereas Thomas went on to represent Willingboro with distinction at the University of North Carolina, becoming a 3-time NCAA Division I tournament qualifier and achieving 96 career wins, while capturing titles at the Edinburgh Open, Hokie Open, and Southern Scuffle. And whereas Thomas has continued to excel academically, earning a master's degree in public administration from Rutgers University in 2018, and now serves the nation through his work with the United States Department of Transportation in Washington, D.C. Whereas Thomas Scotton's legacy as an athlete, scholar, and public servant brings pride and inspiration to Willingboro, reflecting the highest ideals of character and community spirit. Now, therefore, I, Kea T. McIntosh, Mayor of Willingboro Township, along with the Township Council and the entire community, proudly recognize and honor Thomas Scotton on his induction into the South Jersey Wrestling Hall of Fame, honoring him for his dedication to excellence and for leaving an outstanding mark on our community. As well as Thomas, there was also Mr. James Green, who was also inducted into the Hall of Fame as well. So with that, Mr. Scotton, will you come up so we can present you the proclamation? Tanya, you got the camera? Can you do a picture? Here, come on.
Congratulations. Thanks. Thanks. Mr. Harris, we can proceed with the manager's municipal update.
Good evening, Mayor, council members, Willingboro Township. First on, we have our engineer here with us this evening, Hugh Doherty, who comes by once a month to give us an update on our engineering efforts here in Willingboro. So I'll call at this time Mr. Hugh Doherty from Pannoni Engineering.
Thank you. Good evening, Mayor, Deputy Mayor, and Council. Thank you for inviting me here to present the engineer's report this evening. You should have a copy of my report. It's dated November 2024. We had sent that out earlier. I was just going to highlight a couple portions of my report this evening. Starting with item number 1, there's a lot of items there, but I was just going to focus on Council's continued focus on the aging infrastructure. It's going very well at this point. We continue to make scheduled repairs to our sidewalks, our stormwater infrastructure throughout the fall. Repairs are underway at multiple locations currently, and additional pipes are also scheduled to be repaired before the end of the year. We also have positive news about our roads. In addition to the 14 roads that we've already paved this year, concrete work for Marshall Lane is beginning shortly, and paving will be completed early next year. PSE&G has also been involved paving roads this year, and we anticipate 13 additional roads to be paved next year using the iBank Trust Fund money. I also reported last month that our Aging infrastructure includes our pools, and I did notice that was on the agenda later on for discussion. But due to years of deferred maintenance and deterioration, our pools need extensive repairs. We obtained a negotiated price to repair a leak at the country club pool that has existed for many years. We also identified and repaired the most aggressive leak at Pennypacker Pool, but additional leaks also need to be repaired there. Both of the pools have been and can remain operational for the time being. However, due to the anticipated cost, almost $500,000 for a single repair to fix one leak below the bottom of the country club pool, which is 18 feet deep, we recommend a comprehensive, thank you. Yep. We recommend a comprehensive review to look at other possible options. So we would also recommend prioritizing the repairs of all three pool sites, including the splash pads and the kiddie pools, incorporating the township's vision for an aquatic center at one of the sites, and pursuing Green Acres funding to make the needed repairs and upgrades. Jumping ahead to number 5 of my engineer's report, the JFK Performing Arts Center. We continue to work with the township's entertainment consultant, Bobby Duckett, on several aspects of the project. We're coordinating with Mr. Duckett and the contractor Levy to develop a comprehensive cost change order, which we will be presenting to the council shortly. We're also using Mr. Duckett's expertise, and I'm really grateful that for the council to bring on Mr. Duckett as the entertainment consultant, because he's providing us input for this phase as well as phase 2, moving ahead with the plans. Given the age of the building, we do continue to resolve ongoing issues with existing utilities, including structural, electrical, power, fire suppression, and the roof. And speaking about the roof, those repairs have been completed satisfactorily, and they have been tested thanks to the fire department and Mr. Harris's suggestion to use them. So that worked out well. Remaining work under the original contract will continue through November and December, with seats being installed December 13th. And now we now anticipate the Performing Arts Center to be ready by January 31st. Moving on to item number 7 of my report, there are some items in there, but we will continue to assist the township staff in identifying funding through the Green Acres program, municipal aid for roads, and also the brownfields and HD SRF programs for the environmental issues. And that was the highlights that I wanted to present tonight, unless there's any questions from council.
Just one. Can you give us a little bit of a timeline on when do we think the performing arts will be? I know that we had discussed a few dates, and I know December is coming up. Do we have an idea on when that would be opening up for our first?
Right. So working with Mr. Duckett, he's looking to schedule things for February 15th. So that
after?
is, so that would be the first production is what Mr. Duckett is arranging.
Sometime in February, or scheduling after February, basically?
Correct.
Okay, all right, thank you.
No, you're welcome.
I had one. I know we've talked a lot on the record about the return of the speaker system that was purchased for the JFK Center, and I was just wondering if there was an update on that.
Right. So we sat and met with the contractor, and we're going through all of the different change orders requests, and that's part of it. So that the return would be part of that change order. So we are still actively working with the contractor to get that completed.
Okay, thank you.
You're welcome.
Anything else?
In regards to the return, it was my understanding, unless I misunderstood, that we were going to be unable to return them.
Right. We're looking at different options as a credit to the contract.
Okay.
So we're working with the contractor in that regard.
Okay, so just a different option, because the initial, I guess, what we thought we were just going to exchange it.
Correct.
Okay, thank you.
Yeah, you're welcome.
Okay, thank you.
Great. Oh, thank you. Thank you. Good evening.
Thank you, Mr. Doherty. So on with the summary of my our municipal activities since we last met during the month of October. Our inspections department completed 547 inspections through October 23rd. Inspections has been doing a bang-up job, and they are on target to have another consecutive $1 million year in revenues. The revenues collected during the month of October total $62,201. And I thank Mr. Tunstall and his team for not only moving forward projects here in Willingboro efficiently, but they're doing it very thoroughly as well. They did 71 trash and recycling receptacle violation issues. There were 21 disabled and abandoned vehicles where violations were issued. And there were 7 what they call fixograms that were sent to the police department for abandoned or disabled vehicles located on the street, labeling them to be towed by the police. Our DPW department has been diligently working in all that they do. Now they are in the throes of leaf season. So be mindful that as you begin to put out your leaves, to rake your leaves to the curb line and not put them in the gutter portion. So when I say the curb line, that's like the grass portion between the sidewalk and the street. And then we will collect the leaves from the curb line. Please do not rake them into the gutter because that clogs up our stormwater systems. So they are beginning with their leaf collection and will continue through January as long as weather permits. Our fire and EMS department in October was Fire Prevention Safety Month. They spent quite a bit of time talking to several schools, including the James Cotton School, the J.C. Stewart School, Hawthorne Park Elementary, Garfield East, and Willingboro High, just on fire prevention in the home and throughout Willingboro. They have also been very busy last week after an unidentified individual set a brush fire at the rear of Mill Creek Park. And under the authority of the County Forestry Service, they did perform a minor control burn in the area to lessen the opportunity of anyone to light additional fires. And they have also been working to create fire breaks where they create a line in between different sections. So if a portion catches on fire, it will kind of stop and not spread over. So they have been diligently working with that. We did have another fire there this afternoon, but because of the work that the fire department had done, they were there to extinguish it. They were able to extinguish it very quickly without it having any adverse effect. It's important for Willingboro residents to know that New Jersey is under a fire ban. It is illegal. Or I don't know, illegal, but yeah, there's a ban on having open flames in your yards, in public spaces, other than a raised pit or a grill or something like that. No open flames, unless it's like great gas or things like that, but no putting logs where embers would float around. And New Jersey is very dry. I was looking at the statistics, and this is the hottest year in the nation for the past 103 years. So temperatures are going up. Things are very dry. So just be very cautious on what you're doing so we don't burn down the house. I would like to take a moment and congratulate our Captain Aaron Harry, who was selected to attend the 295th session of the FBI's National Academy Training Course. That the FBI National Academy invitation only is only a selection process that reflects Captain Harry's dedication, her professionalism, and commitment to the highest standards of law enforcement. Her leadership, and it's a testament to the respect and confidence placed in her abilities as an exceptional leader. So I would just like to congratulate Captain Harry on being accepted into this prestigious program and representing Willingboro well. In public safety also, there were approximately 25 candidates who have successfully passed the physical training standards to become a police officer, and they have advanced on to the next phase of the hiring process, the application and background investigation stage, I'm sorry. Each candidate undergoes a comprehensive background check, and the police department investigates extensively, tracking back to the candidates' high school years and their hometowns. They interview neighbors, former partners, family members, employers, and teachers as all part of the interview to gain a complete perspective on the candidate, and a detailed review of their social media presence, criminal and motor vehicle history, their credit reports, all of that. It's a very rigorous process to ensure that only the most qualified candidates are selected to serve in our community. And Willingboro has an outstanding police department, and the service they provide to our community, bar none, is top notch. And we thank them for all that they do. On Thursday, October the 17th, they collected over $200 of non-perishable foods in recognition of Domestic Violence Month and donated it to support families in need. And it included items like candy yams, stuffing, cornbread. And these items will be distributed to families for Thanksgiving in the month of November. Our recreation, the Broido Park ribbon cutting ceremony was held on October 26th, and it was very successful. I thank you, the governing body members and the community, for supporting the introductory inclusive playground here in Willingboro, and I hope the community utilizes this revitalized playground. On the same day, the trunk or treat was held. It was another success, with over 400 children attending. And again, thank you to the residents who participated or donated to the cause, providing a safe venue for our children to experience Halloween. Willingboro has also received an additional 10 red oaks that were accessible to us through the Burlington County Bridge Commission's tree program. We will be planting those 10 oaks along the JFK Way to replace the 3 that didn't thrive after they were planted last year, and the remaining will be planted in Mill Creek Park along the fence line near Beverly Rancocas Road, providing a little tree line barrier between the roadway and the park. Some other updates: PSE&G has completed the paving at the DPW lot on Industrial Way. This was completed as a thank you for allowing them to utilize our space to house their trucks as they move through the gas line replacements in Willingboro. And after the project, PSE&G will also repave the entirety of Industrial Drive. I did mention the fire at Mills Creek Park. Earl Construction is preparing to begin the reconstruction of Marshall Lane, as our engineer previously stated. That was part of our 2023 road project. This project is funded separately through a New Jersey DOT grant in the amount of $407,000. The bid for the project came in at $266,277. So I'm hoping we can reappropriate the remainder of those monies in some other form or fashion related to the Marshall Lane project. Earl was also the lowest bidder for the phase 2 of our road program. Again, as Mr. Doherty stated, we are going to be including or repaving 13 additional streets in Willingboro for the bid amount of $1,401,113. And again, this money has already been allocated and funded through the NJI Bank to Willingboro. There was another small fire underground at the signage at the town center board. I don't know if you were all aware, but the signboard at the town center is the property of Willingboro Township. We're getting ready to replace an electronic digital board there, but the ground caught fire last week. Our fire officials and electricians were on site to investigate, and it's going to need to have some of the underground wiring replaced just due to wear and tear. And for some reason, the groundhogs like to nibble on our underground wiring. If you haven't noticed, the lights on MLK Drive have been transitioned to LED lighting. So it's a little bit brighter in the evening along MLK Drive. PSC&G will begin focusing on Veterans Parkway as we continue moving forward to replacing all of Willingboro with LED lighting. In that same vein, our new trash and recycling bins have arrived, and DPW has been installing them at various locations throughout the township. And again, if you drive up and down MLK, there's 3 of them along the way, and they're pretty nice. And I thank Willingboro, I thank our DPW again for the work that they did under the inspiration of Councilwoman Whitfield. So thank you. And that's all that I have to report this evening.
Okay. Is any Deputy Mayor?
Mr. Harris, if you live in a park that doesn't have a sidewalk, where are you supposed to put the leaves?
That doesn't have a sidewalk.
Correct,
so-
like Country Club, there's no sidewalk, there's no,
So put them right at the edge of the grass line property without putting them into the roadway.
okay, thank you.
Mr. Harris, I had called you last night about the lighting in
Yes.
front. So did you find out about, is it a time thing? I had gotten a call yesterday from a resident that it was very dark at the front of the municipal building. And you said you were gonna look into it to see if it was something dealing with the bulb or just the timing of it. Did you have any update on that?
I don't have any update on that. I know that the situation was looked at and remediated to accommodate for it last night.
Mhm.
I know DPW did go out and look at the timing on our light switches here and at the library as well. Without getting an official report that it has been taken care of, I trust that it has been taken care of because my guys have been very thorough in their responsiveness to those types of needs.
Okay, thank you.
You're welcome.
Mr. Harris, have we been providing notices concerning the restrictions of open fires during this drought?
We have placed notices on our website.
Okay.
If you're driving around, you will see different notices on New Jersey DOT signs along 295
Mhm.
and areas like that, but we're not sending like individual house-to-house
Yeah, not-
notification.
Not maybe, but do we post on our app and
Yes,
social media and stuff like
Yeah.
that? Just to remind people, because I don't know how many people are aware. You know, we haven't had rain in a long time, so obviously, but some people.
and I don't
Haven't
think we're gonna
opened
get
it.
rain for a little while still,
Mhm.
but yeah, when I say our social media, that's inclusive of our app,
Okay,
our website, our Facebook posts, all of those.
okay. Councilman Whitfield.
Thank you, Mayor. Mr. Harris, I just wanted to say thank you for all your hard work. One of the cornerstones of a thriving community is for it to be clean and safe. And DPW has been doing a tremendous job keeping our community clean, inspiring residents to also help in that work that is all of our job, to keep our community clean.
Yes.
And also installing the new trash cans that will inspire folks to not litter and put their trash in the receptacles that are provided along our roadways. So I'm thankful for that. And also a part of that clean and safe is also the lighting. So your work with PSC&G on the lighting improvements on our roadways and throughout Willingboro will definitely bring a new brightness to Willingboro. And I thank you for that work. So
Absolutely. Thank you, Councilwoman,
no problem.
your acknowledgement.
Okay. We can go ahead with the ordinances and resolutions.
So the ordinance is being presented to you this evening was ordinance number 2024-26. That's for introduction. That's an ordinance to improve municipal operations and efficiency through reorganization of departments by amending Chapter 3, Article 15 of the Township Code, renaming the Department of Inspections to the Department of Community Development. Ordinance number 24-27 is a very similar ordinance restructuring or reorganizing the department by amending Chapter 3, Article 3 of the Township Code relating to our administrative operations or organizational structure. Ordinance number 2024-28 is an ordinance, again, very similar through a departmental restructuring, the creation of the Department of Administration, and amendments to Chapter 3 of the Township Code. And ordinance number 24-29 is an ordinance to rename the Department of Recreation to the Department of Wellness. And I'm going to ask Deputy Township Manager, Mr. Gary Laurie, B. Laurie III, to just come up and give you all a general synopsis of what these ordinances were put together for and what our overall objective is. Mr. Laurie?
Good evening, everybody.
Good evening.
So a few months ago, myself, Mayor, Dr. Worthy, Mr. Harris, we got together and we started to plan what the township would look like moving forward. So we began developing, we looked at some of our inefficiencies in our operations of various departments. We kind of came up with things to improve those inefficiencies to make the township run a little more smoothly. We looked at what other towns were doing, what their structure was like, what their organizational structure looked like in their code. And we kind of took from that and applied it to what would work best here in Willingboro. So as Mr. Harris has already gone through, Ordinance 26 is changing the department name of inspections to community development. 27 is the administrative organization. That one, there will need to be a slight amendment or change in what you see in that document there. Myself and Ms. McHugh, there's, I think under the municipal court, there's the public defender that's still under there. That will need to change because the public defender can't go under a department with the municipal court. That will need to be adjusted. And the prosecutor. Thank you. 2028 is creating a Department of Administration. So there's a bunch of offices, departments. There's a bunch of areas in the township that don't really fall under a structure. So we're putting that in a structure, right? So as we continue to restructure, there's things that are happening. There's ordinances that we're going to be rolling out, but they have to go under a formal structure. We're only allowed to have 9 total departments in the township. So we created a Department of Administration. And under that department, the township manager will be the de facto director for that department. There will be multiple divisions and offices. So the Office of Public Information will be under the Department of Administration, the Division of Human Resources, the Office of Engineering, the Division of, I think I said the Division of Human Resources, right? I'm going off the top of head right now. And there will be multiple other divisions that will go in there as well as the Division of Information Technology. Currently, our code has a Department of Information Technology and Communications, which doesn't really lend itself to, it's not helpful. It really doesn't make sense. So those are the current ones that we have on right now. There will be a few more that might come later on. One of the other things that we wanted to talk about is the combination of the fire and EMS department. We have not finished that conversation, but that may come at some point down the line. And I believe that is it. Right now, so there's things that you'll see that just kind of have name changes, but there's a way in which these departments will operate differently that has the most impact in terms of how we carry out our work here. Is there any questions before I sit down?
I have a question. So in a lot of municipalities, they have what's known as a recreation department. So as us rebranding to the Department of Wellness, how does that play? I mean, most places you have a recreation department.
Hmm.
So I'm just looking at, is it wellness and recreation or wellness?
That was the name that came up during our conversation. I believe Dr. Worthy came up with that name, but I think I'll pass that to the mayor if she wants to have.
Yeah, I had to open up trying to open up my notes. It was just supposed to broaden recreation. Recreation is still within that, but like exercise is wellness. It's really broadening the recreation scope in terms of incorporating wellness and making sure we're addressing the youth, the elderly, pretty much the whole community. And that is the name, we saw fitting as presented, even in our executive session previously. Wellness was more encapsulating recreation and just broadening the scope of our recreation department.
So as a resident, and I have a child and I'm looking for recreation, sports and all that, and I see wellness, I would just think, or would it be consideration, recreation and wellness, wellness and recreation? I think it's important for that recreation piece. For families with children, they go onto the website, they don't see recreation, they see wellness.
Right, and so that's why it's
I'm
fair.
just
And
for consideration.
that's fair, and I think
Just
that's
for
why it's brought in front of council, and
Yeah.
we sent it out
Recreation and wellness,
last
wellness
week
and
to make
recreation.
sure. Yeah,
Just
so
so
that's
that-
fair.
yeah.
That's fair.
Just food for thought.
Okay, Councilwoman Whitfield?
Thank you, Mayor. Is there a rebranding plan that has been thought of for the rebranding of the departments? So similar to the Department of Recreation, going to the Department of Wellness, the Department of Community Development being the former Department of Inspections. I think there'll need to be, some community mindset change in that as well.
Agreed.
But on the website, will there still be able to search inspections or search recreation and land at the same place if they were to go to the Department of Community Development or Department
So
of Wellness?
we haven't discussed rebranding yet, but naturally that would be a part of our process once this moves forward, if it does. In terms of regarding your question about the search option, that's something that we'd have to look into. I'm not sure if there's other keywords that can be included in a search. There may be on the website, just kind of seeing it in my mind right now. I believe that may possibly be an option, but I can't guarantee you.
Okay. I just wanted to put it out there because it's not always naturally assumed.
I understand.
Great, and I think, that's a great point, and I think we just need to make sure we're very clear in the messaging
Yep.
of all the departments. I think that's a very fair statement. And in terms of including recreation in the title, that's a consideration. I would just make sure as we're going through this process, the information has been disseminated to all the council, and if there's feedback even in between council meetings, make sure, you contact Mr. Laurie. He's a point person for presenting, I'll say, or just,
This project.
the project. So if, I think reading it over also and just seeing the broadness or what we're trying to do, and, it's still in a process where it's open if anyone has any other input. So. Go ahead.
One of my questions was to Deputy Mayor's point of the recreation. I'm not in favor of the wellness. It sounds more like some sort of weight loss program or something. Recreation is more broad. Recreation, to me, is more appropriate. I don't even see the need to change that. So that's a concern. The other concern is I heard you say this was Tiffany Worthy's idea. This is not Tiffany Worthy's council. So, and as far as these emails that you said we received, I have not seen them. This project about rebranding ourselves does need to be a full council initiative along with the township manager. There should not be individual meetings with Tiffany Worthy directing you to change things for anything. I do see that you have here amending chapters 3. However, I don't see, and it says of the township codes. With this process going forward, I would appreciate, it would be helpful to attach the actual code. For reference, especially if you're going to be doctoring or removing language. Please make sure it's in red and provide purpose of why you feel like this change needs to be made, and not, the purpose cannot be because Dr. Worthy said so. That's not comfortable for me at all. And if you're meeting, I feel that it should be a rotation of council members participating in these meetings. It should not just be Councilman Worthy, because we're a council of 5. So rather than, and I know you're working hard to getting it done, and I want to make sure your work and ethics is fruition to success. So the best thing is to make sure we incorporate all of council, including making sure our solicitor is reviewing these ideas that we have as a council, and not one particular council member is making these changes. And I'm not even sure why this even came up as a factor. And I think you said it earlier, it was Dr. Worthy's idea to change these departments. The council never voted on anything like, I mean, at least that's what I heard him say. If I misheard what you
Clarify,
said,
Yeah.
yes,
I
please
think-
clarify
I
that.
think he just attributed to the name of the Department of Wellness as a suggestion by Dr. Worthy. But these different ordinance, our code, we have been reviewing these since May of last year.
Okay, whose
And
idea was
also-
to do it?
I'd also like to say we
Councilwoman
did
Brown,
discuss this.
also, we did discuss this in executive session, which you were
And
present at.
Yeah, I would like to see the
and-
minutes to that. Okay, so.
Okay,
again,
but
this is a-
I'm just,
um,
I let you
respect-
talk. Now,
respectfully-
please respect my
respect-
time
right,
and my
you do
turn
not
to
have the
speak.
floor. You do not.
I
have
do have the floor
No,
because you
would
finished,
not-
and now it's
You were
time
not
for me to
given the
speak.
floor.
Rebecca,
Councilman
I'm not
Whitfield-
doing this with you
Councilman
tonight.
Whitfield, you
I
do
would like
not
to
have
finish
the floor.
speaking. I would like to
Councilman
finish
Whitfield, you do
speaking.
not
I
have
would
the
like to
floor.
finish speaking.
Council
I would
Whitfield
like
does
to
not-
finish
She does not have the
speaking.
floor.
He has the
She
floor.
does not have the
We're
floor. I asked a question.
We're gonna
She
do
can
this again.
contain herself until you give her the floor.
Gave her the floor.
No,
She gave
did
me the
not have
floor already.
You did not have the floor. And back to your response, Mr. Harris, thank you. Okay, and to Mr. Gary, if there is any communication with regards to this process, I have not seen the emails. If there was an executive session discussion, I would like to see the minutes to this. And now I
Okay,
yield the floor back to the mayor. Thank you.
Councilwoman Perone, just for clarification, this was presented to the full council, and, you are
I didn't
definitely
receive it.
entitled to meet, but this whole thing was presented to the full council, so that there's no, appearance
The
of
minutes,
anyone.
just give me the minutes. That's all I'm asking
Okay,
for.
but I'm just
I didn't
saying,
see it.
just for the record, because you said you don't remember.
I
I'm
didn't
just saying
receive the
for the
emails
record.
either.
Councilwoman Whitfield?
I have nothing for it.
Thank
Okay,
you.
thank you, Councilwoman Whitfield.
Nobody asked for your commentary.
Oh, thank you.
Uh,
Silence over there.
If I may,
Yes.
I'd also like to say for the record that the solicitor has reviewed all
Yes.
these
you.
ordinances that we collaborated on those. They had the final draft. Her office has had the final draft on all of those. Any other questions?
Not as of now. And then I think, we can do some more to make sure that we understand, what's actually, understand the breadth of what's been happening over the last year.
Okay.
So,
And if you could
okay.
just email me everything that was already emailed. I didn't see them.
Yep,
Thank
I'll
you.
send those.
Did
again.
you email, did you?
Yeah, and include the track changes.
Okay, Thank you, Mr. Falk.
Thank you, Mr. Laurie. So to continue, ordinance that are being presented for second public hearing and final adoption, ordinance number 2024 is another ordinance improving municipal operations through efficiency, through departmental restructuring and amendments to Chapter 3, Article 10 of the Township Code relating to the Department of Police, where we are creating the Office of the Police Chief, and which is going to replace the public Safety Director. Ordinance number 24-25 is an ordinance repealing and replacing Chapter 252, Sections 6 through 9, with Sections 6 through 11 relating to disorderly conduct. This was tightening up our disorderly conduct ordinance for the efficiencies, further efficiencies in the court and in the police department. The resolutions being presented this evening is resolution number 264, which is a resolution authorizing the township to place municipal charges on certain properties for failing to address property maintenance violations. Resolution number 265 is a resolution to establish a municipal policy on purchasing electric hybrid or alternative fuel vehicles. This registration was birthed out of our, my mind is just
It's
slow
one of them
today.
days.
Right. Out of our best practices inventory, one of the questions in our best practices inventories, if the township had a policy in place, we thought it was a good thing for us to create a policy. So that is what was the impetus behind resolution number 265. Resolution number 265 or 266 is a resolution authorizing the township through the Willingboro Township Police Department to participate in the Defense Logistics Agency Law Enforcement Support 1033 program that enables them to purchase certain items that are no longer used through, I guess it's the Department of Defense. Willingboro has passed this resolution many times because to be eligible, you do have to put forth a resolution, but there is no record of us actually utilizing this program to purchase items in the past. But just in case something comes up, we still would like to be in the pool. Resolution number 267 is a resolution authorizing the cancellation of old outstanding checks and reconciling items. That's in our Finance Department. Resolution number 268 is authorizing an increase to the not-to-exceed amount for Andrew Duclair. He is our municipal public defender for the payment of his services. When we contracted with Mr. Duclair earlier in 2025, we initially did a not-to-exceed in the amount of $20,000. But during our contractual negotiation, we settled on his compensation at being 22.5. So we just need to increase the not to exceed so we cover the fullness of our financial obligations to him. Resolution number 269 is an increase to the not to exceed for New Jersey Animal Control LLC for the provision of their animal control services to the Township of Willingboro. Resolution number 270 is authorizing the township to award a construction services contract for the Sportsman's Field parking lot repaving project. We're going to repave that parking lot at Sportsman's Field. Resolution number 271 is authorizing a change order for a contract with Think Pavers Hardscaping LLC for 2023 concrete repairs. We awarded them a contract last year for, I think it was almost 10,000 square feet of concrete work in Willingboro, but we are going to include the sidewalk along Veterans Parkway and JFK, right outside of the JFK Center. So they're going to replace the expanse of that concrete as well, sidewalks as well. Resolution number 272 is increasing the not to exceed for Delta Dental, who is our dental and vision provider for our township employees. Resolution number 273 is authorizing a not to exceed, an increase to the not to exceed amount approved for the funding of the Willingboro Township's share of the MAX contract joint purchasing agreement. Our MAX contract is a contract that we are entered in with Burlington County, and they collect our trash and recycling at our apartment complexes. So that, although the contract remains pretty flat during the course of the year, it can fluctuate up or down depending on the amount of additional items that they're collecting. And we've had a very busy year. Resolution number 274 is authorizing the township to execute an agreement with Belia Design, print and mail to provide the 2025 township calendar. And they also do other printing for us, as well as our holiday mailers and different schedules and things like that. Resolution number 275 is authorizing an increase to the not to exceed for Lay's Pristine Cleaning for the provision of our custodial services to Willingboro Township. We did include additionally in our cleaning services, our DPW department, they did additional cleanings of our carpets, some furniture at the senior center. So we owe them a little bit of additional funding for other work that they have done, like cleaning up after different programs in the JFK Center. Resolution number 276 is authorizing an increase to the not-to-exceed amount for enterprise fleet management services. This is just going to cover the additional police vehicle that we put in service, as well as the new fire chief's vehicle that we put into services in 2024. Resolution number 277 is authorizing an increase to the not-to-exceed amount for Platt Law Group for the provision of tax attorney services for the township. Platt Law Group has been the firm that has been leading us in the in-rem foreclosure at the Big D Marina property and other things as well in the township. So I believe we needed to pay them additional $3,000 for their services provided to the township. Resolution number 278 is authorizing budget transfers to meet the requirements for operating the affairs of the township. Statutorily, the township can begin making budget transfers to cover shortfalls in certain line item accounts from other line item accounts that have overabundances. We cannot begin to do that until November of each year, and that will continue into the first 3 months of the subsequent year. And I believe the list of transfers was attached to the resolution for your review. Resolution number 279 is authorizing the redistribution of unexpected contract funds for lawn and landscaping services. Each year, we award $100,000 in contracts divided up between 5 companies to provide these services for our inspections department and other areas. There were a couple of vendors who were not able to service us this year because of their schedules and availabilities and their interest or lack of interest in a particular project. So we just want to reappropriate the monies that were not utilized by those vendors and just reappropriate them to the other vendors to cover the cost for the work that was really done. The value of the contract has not changed. It's just the distribution of the funding within that resolution that's being amended. Resolution number 280 is a resolution authorizing the planning board to conduct an area in need of redevelopment investigation of certain properties identified in Willingboro Township, and to determine whether the planning board finds that the properties satisfy the local redevelopment and housing law in need criteria and should be declared a redevelopment area, and if so, commence with the preparation of a redevelopment plan. We have been actively talking about the need to redevelop the Big D Marina property and also the potential of redeveloping the Grand Marketplace property. And through our investigations, it was, or the lack of a formal redevelopment plan had never been filed with the Department of Community Affairs on behalf of Willingboro Township. So we're going to begin the first step in preparing a formal redevelopment plan. And we have here Ms. Tiana Kofani, I think that's correct? Okay. She is from McManaman, Scotland and Bauman LLC. They serve as our bond counsel and our redevelopment counsel, and she's just going to give a little more insight as to what this resolution actually is.
Good evening, everyone. As Mr. Harris said, Tiana Cafoni from McManaman, Scotland and Bauman, your bond and redevelopment counsel. So resolution 2024-280 is the very, thank you, is the very first step in the redevelopment process. And what that does is it directs the planning board to have a planner conduct a study to determine if those properties listed satisfy the criteria set forth in the statute to be determined a redevelopment area. This first step You also need to determine whether you're going to have a non-condemnation or condemnation redevelopment area. If it satisfies the criteria, the very first step is you need to set forth, are you looking to do condemnation, non-condemnation? This is a condemnation. What that means is if it is determined to be a redevelopment area, the municipality has the power of eminent domain. So that is included. It is a whole other process with public notice and goes through the courts, and it's a whole other process, but it allows you that opportunity. Like I said, this is the first step. The planner would need to conduct the study, prepare a report with a map. That study is then reviewed by the planning board at a hearing that is published. There's 2 notifications in the newspaper, along with personal notice to all the property owners that are being studied. That is the hearing before the planning board. Then the planning board then adopts a resolution, typically directing the council or advising the council on their recommendation, what they recommend, whether or not the study, they agree with the study, whether or not the area satisfies the criteria, and whether or not they recommend that the area be designated a redevelopment area. That recommendation comes back to you, and the council is the one who actually adopts a resolution designating the area. That resolution, if adopted, goes to DCA and is then the redevelopment area is created, and that's how it, and then after that, the process unfolds from there as a redevelopment plan for the redevelopment area, and that's the zoning for the area. It takes the place, or it could be an overlay, or it takes the place of the underlying zoning, but it's basically the zoning standards for the area, specific to that area. And the process continues from there, but we're the very, very first step of this.
Thank you.
I could take any questions if anyone has any.
We'll do the questions. If we take this out, we'll do questioning and discussion.
You got it.
Yeah.
Resolution number 281 is a resolution authorizing a refund for the overpayment of taxes. And resolution number 282 is authorizing the approval of vouchers for payment and ratification. And those are all the items being presented to you this evening for your consideration.
Okay. We'll move on to public comment. We'll open up public comment for agenda items only. Public comment will be 2 minutes. Please state your name and address for the record. Public comment for agenda items is now open. We can take people online, please.
All right, Mayor Brown.
Good evening, everybody, Mayor, Council Member. Thank everybody for voting Democratic for this year.
Ms. Brown, your address?
78 Executive Lane. Audience 2024-26. What are the municipal operation and in what way? Audience 27. What are the method of improving the municipal operation? 2024-2664. What are these charges on certain property maintenance violation? For example, 2265, is there a tax break for buying hybrid vehicle? 266, are we participate in the Defense Logistic Agency Law Enforcement Support Officer for the Department of Defense? What are the equipments? 274, what is MACCS contract? 275, what is the increase for the custodian service and in what areas? 276, why is there increase for fleet management? What is fleet management operation? 278, what are some example of a budget transfer? 280, what is the area of land to be determined? I know he mentioned Grand Market property and what other area? Thank you so much.
Thank you, Ms. Brown. Yeah.
All right, former Mayor Martinock.
Yeah. Okay.
Good evening, everyone. Is it possible to have her go through the 278 again in terms of what you're asking of the planning board, or is there going to be a special meeting for the planning board to understand what is being requested of them?
You mean
And
resolution 80?
oh, it's 280. I thought on here it says 278, but if it's 280, it's 280. The one that requires the planning board to take up the redevelopment. I was trying to listen to exactly what was required.
Okay, got it.
Okay, just that wasn't totally clear to me, so that's what I'd like to know. So is that 280 or 278? Because on here it says 278. I pulled the agenda off the website.
280.
Okay. Okay. All right. That's it. Thank you. Have a good evening.
Thank you. Anyone else online for agenda items?
Not at this time, Mayor.
Thank you. Public comment for agenda items is over. Ms. Brown, you went through yeah, a lot. You
So
need to
I-
address some of them because before we vote.
Yeah, we'll reach out to Ms. Brown because the information that she is looking for really is embedded in the resolutions and ordinances, which are all accessible online. So if she would just go to the website and look at the agenda packet, it would really explain everything that she was questioning.
Okay. And if she has further questions, she can contact you directly to make sure you
Absolutely.
answer all of her questions.
Yes.
Okay. For Mr. Knock, resolution 280, we will just have an extra meeting. I'll ask Ms. Tiana to we'll speak directly to the chair and the full planning board. So there will be, further clarification provided to the planning board. And I think, go ahead.
Mayor, can we also pull that resolution for discussion?
Okay.
Thanks.
Did you pull? We just do the ordinances right now,
Mhm.
and I'll ask the full what resolution.
Okay. Can I get a motion? Can I get a motion on ordinance 2024-26, an ordinance to improve municipal operations and efficiency through the reorganization of departments by amending Chapter 3, Article 15 of the Township Code, renaming the Department of Inspections to the Department of Community Development?
So moved.
Second.
Moved by Deputy Mayor Anderson, seconded by Councilwoman Perone. Discussion, please. Go ahead, Councilwoman Perone.
So I did review the attachments here. Thank you for actually providing that, Mr. Everett, the chapter 3. I have read here that the language reads, not to read the entire thing, but it says, whereas renaming the Department of Inspections to the Department of Community Development is better reflects the full range of services provided by the department. So that's just a statement. However, nothing that I've read here is out of order of whatever the department already exists. The Department of Inspections, this is what they do. They inspect the community. They hand out citations. So other than changing the name, maybe this is, I guess there was only 3 people attending this meeting, Mr. Lowry and Mr. Harris and Councilman Worthy.
And I was there, and then like.
Oh, you were there.
yeah,
Okay,
that
so
was presented.
so
but that
perhaps-
fullness was presented.
perhaps you can identify, because I have the article here, what, other than stating that renaming it better reflects the range, what range has been added if we decide to go with Department of Community as opposed to Department of Inspections? And I'll close here. Department of Inspections makes the most logical sense for me. I don't see the logical behind it. So if you can explain, help me understand. Department of Community.
So when you say the range, what do you mean when you say the range?
Okay, that's
about
what
the
it says
third
here. It
paragraph
says
of the-
here,
resolution.
whereas renaming the Department of Inspections to the Department of Community Development better reflects the full range of services provided by the department, highlighting its role in shaping the future growth and development of the township. So that doesn't tell me anything as far as what's new,
Why you
right?
changing
What
the
is,
name?
we know what the Department of Inspection does. So if we change it to Department of Community, what's going to be different?
So I think when Mr. Lauer was presenting the ordinance, he was also explaining that in our current code, there was a lot of uh, voided or blank information. So this ordinance really identifies when we say the range, if you look on page 24 of the document, where it talks about the different powers of and duties, what the Department of Community Development would be tasked with doing. It talks about code enforcement. It talks about the construction official. It talks about the building subcode official, the electric subcode official, the mechanical subcode official, the fire subcode official, the property maintenance official, what the requirements of each one of those are the ranges of the department.
In addition
that-
to that, if I
Go
may,
ahead, go ahead.
during the conversations, we talked about making the department more expansive. And we talked about the inclusion of an economic development specialist, someone that would work in the township to help identify areas that would be potential areas for economic development, redevelopment, things of that nature, because we don't currently have that person here in-house on staff. So that would also make it more, the full range, as you noted from the ordinance.
Is that
And
written in the ordinance?
that's not
Should
written
be
in the
explicit-
ordinance.
That should probably should be explicitly stated to Councilwoman's point. Just so, just so it's captured that we understand.
So that would be adding the position in there. I mean, I'll defer
Not
to
necessarily
the,
position, but scope.
just,
I think there's an
okay.
expansion of the scope of insight from that department, which we've, over the years, even working with the Economic Development Committee, we just had a hard time accessing that information through the inspections department.
Yep.
So just part of making that added to that department and making it a responsibility.
That shouldn't be a problem. I can work with Ms. McHugh on that and get that language included.
I just wanted, Mr. Harris, and I did read that as well. But that's what I was referring to. The Department of Inspections, this is what they do. So it's not like it's new. I mean, other than changing the name, I don't see the difference. Remember I was saying earlier, if you can add where the red would be, this is what we currently have, Department of Inspections, this is what they currently do, just exactly how it's outlined here. Not to read it all over again, because you've read it, Mr. Harris, on page 24. That's what the Department of Inspection does. So why would we change the name if the functioning does not change? And I did see something, I was looking for Mr. Laurie. I saw a salary of a position for $34,000. Is that what you're referring to?
I don't know what you're referring
Okay,
to.
something, I did see something in here, but just to stick to this topic, I don't see, other than changing the name, that's what inspection does. So why are we focusing on changing the name to Department of Community Development, which I think the best name is what it currently is, Department of Inspections? Maybe it's, I mean, I know this is the first
Say it again.
reading, so maybe if it's a takeaway, we can have more information. I know Councilman Worthy's not here. Maybe she can add some more information. But that, to me, it doesn't make any sense to change it. There's no purpose of doing other than to say, we've changed it. I just don't see, I don't want to belabor the topic.
Right, so it goes back to the components that I said that would be in addition to.
That
would be
position you're
included.
talking about? That
The
part?
Absolutely, that and the overall
Okay,
scope
maybe
of
that should be
economic
in here
development,
then, as Mayor said.
Currently called the Department of Inspections, it's called
support service.
Support Service.
Well, I mean, I'm reading what it says here. I thought it was called Department of Inspections, but that's exactly what it says here. As to why it says here, whereas renaming the Department of Inspections to Department of Community Development. So again, I know this is the first reading, so we don't have to spend a lot of time on it. Those are just my questions and concerns. I'm one councilwoman, so maybe at the next council meeting, it could make more sense. But as of right now, I don't see the sense in changing it, the name. if there is something functionality that we cannot do with the Department of Inspections, then that would make more sense to me. I just didn't see the comparison here.
Councilwoman, and I
Sure.
apologize because I don't want to lose my thought. Like Mr. Tunstall was just sharing, currently the department is named the Department of Support Services, which did not really clearly define what that department does. And I think the rationale by changing it to the Department of Community Development was just a holistic component or conglomeration of how the department really works to develop develop the community in its planning and redevelopment, reconstruction, inspections, the different services that are poured into rebuilding and keeping Willingboro a thriving municipality.
Okay, so it's called Department of Support Services. That's what you're saying, Mr. Harris? And that there's no such thing as Department of Inspections?
Correct.
That's news to me.
So then we just adjust that languaging.
And then
if it's
I still would need to see, even if it's called the Department of Support Services, what is the functionality of what that department?
So I have to make sure that we're clear here. So the code currently says Department of Inspections.
I thought I could have swore I read.
The way in which this township has been operating over the last, I'm not sure how many years, I've been here since 2022. Everybody has referred to that department as support services. So with the confusion that has existed here, subtracting that confusion and then moving forward in terms of what we want to do, including economic development and including the development of the town and having that focus there for us. That's how we develop that name with community development.
Okay, so I'm going.
But
with
like
the
we
code.
said, we'll include that in the next iteration when we have this for second reading. So we'll make sure that that language gets in there, so it makes more sense.
Okay, and then I would prefer that we stick with the code. Whatever the code says, if the code says Department of Inspections, that's what we have.
Well, that's why it's in the ordinance now.
Okay, and then I'll pull it myself. I'm gonna pull it myself too, but I want to see, I'm gonna look to see what the Department of Inspection does, and then I'm gonna compare it to what we have here, Department of Community Development, that it's better, more full services, so I can see. But if you already worked on it, if you can just pop in there, red, this is the difference, you know, like an example, now that it's called Department of Community Development, now they're gonna give citation if your grass is not cut.
Sure. And then also another point, and again, this is to your point about the red line changes, the current code doesn't allow for there to be a director of inspections, right? So
Okay,
the code official is, for the ordinance, is the head person in charge of the Department of Inspections. That changes under this new ordinance.
so we will have a new, okay, if this is to be successful and it's changed to Department of Community Development, you're saying now we can add a position called Director of, tell me again, what is it called? Director of what?
Community
Community
development.
Director of
Development,
Community
yes.
Development. Okay, and you can't have a Director of Community Development if it says Department of Inspections. Okay.
So your current
Yeah.
code says that the code official is the head of the department. That there is no director in the code
Okay,
currently. We are presenting a new ordinance that would include a director, and then the code official will be over all of the UCC stuff because that has to be. And then we're also including, the purpose is also to include components of economic development that don't currently exist here in the township,
In that.
outside of the Economic Development Committee.
okay. All right, so maybe it'll make more sense once I see
Correct.
the breakdown.
Uh,
Thank you.
Councilwoman Whitfield?
Thank you, Mayor. Thank you, Ms. Valari, for your presentation. And I just wanted to get a few clarifications here from what you presented and the emails that were sent and what we discussed in executive session before. I just wanted to get a little bit of clarity and just some confirmation on a few things, if that's okay. So this Department of Community Development would be in charge of the overall improvement of the township, neighborhoods and commercial spaces and things like that, correct?
Correct.
Okay. And then things that would be included that are not currently included under the Department of Inspections are here in paragraph 2, where it says planning, zoning, permitting, and community development initiatives, including economic development.
That is also correct.
Okay, thank you.
You know what? That's all I have for right now. Thank you.
Thank you.
Anything else, Deputy Mayor? Okay, you could call the vote.
Councilwoman Peron,
Yes.
Councilwoman Whitfield,
Yes.
Deputy Mayor Anderson. Did you say yes? Oh, sorry, I didn't hear you. Mayor McIntosh.
Yes.
Ordinance 2024-27, an ordinance to improve municipal operations and efficiency through reorganization of departments by amending Chapter 3, Article 3 of the Township Code relating to administrative organization. Can I get a motion in a second?
So moved.
Second.
Moved by Councilwoman Perone, seconded by Deputy Mayor Anderson. Discussion?
Yes.
Go ahead.
Okay, so with regards to this one, you're looking to change what exactly on the administrative organization? I think I did see, chief of police on here. Is that the only thing that you're looking to, I'm trying to pull it back up. Okay, here it is. Is this the one for ordinance 24-24? Where it says,
27. Ordinance 27.
okay, I have an attachment here regarding, whereas the township council and administration are committed to ensuring safety, security, well-being of all residents through the efficiency and effective operations of the Department of Police. Is that what this ordinance 2024 is not, you're not referring to that? So can you explain to me what this is referring to then? Mr. Lawson?
2024-27?
Yes.
Okay. So all of these ordinances are related. So if we're changing names, if we're changing where departments are located, if we're changing where offices or divisions are located, that also has to be reflective in our code. So once our code is updated, all of this has to be updated as well. So you'll see what you won't see if you go look at the code now, the Department of Administration. Under the Department of Administration, as I explained earlier, is the Office of Township Manager, which that will also have to come out as well. The Office of Public Information, the Division of Information Technology, Division of Human Resources, Office of Emergency Management and Public Safety, Office of Engineering, Office of Vital Statistics, Office of Purchasing. Those don't currently exist in what you see now on the code, but they will have to exist somewhere. And like I said, we only have 9 departments that we can have in total. These are providing a formal structure into where these offices will report. These offices and divisions will report.
Mhm. So these are new. I know you mentioned the Department of Administration is currently Office of the Township Manager.
If you look at the current code, it just says Township Manager. There is no Department of Administration.
Okay, and so we're trying to create a department and that will be the name. Okay, so same thing. If we can just, and if this is already in the email, maybe perhaps send it to me again. But if you can show me what you're adding and what it currently reads, so I can make a more informed decision on what you're trying to do here. I understand you're trying to change things to make more sense. With these changes, or the last thing I want to ask is, does this change anything dealing with salaries? I know sometimes this is off the topic, but if you're a superintendent and not just a director, your salary changes. So when you start with changing names like office or division or things like that, are there any salary grades that change as well? That you know of?
It possibly could mean that, depending on what the office is. But I mean, that would be dependent on what is included in the salary ordinance that will be presented later this year.
Okay, so, and if it does, I would like to know that information because sometimes the titles are established because of what a salary is. So I want to be careful that we're not changing titles, and then what also changes is what the salary should be with that new title if we start changing departments and things like that. So that's my takeaway from this one. That's all I have.
Brown, any other discussion? Roll call, please.
Councilwoman Peron,
Yes.
Councilwoman Whitfield,
Yes.
Deputy Mayor Anderson,
Yes.
Mayor McIntosh.
Yes.
May I have a motion and a second for ordinance 2024-28 An ordinance to improve municipal operations and efficiency through departmental restructuring, the creation of a Department of Administration, and amendments to Chapter 3 of the Township Code.
So moved.
Second.
Moved by Councilwoman Perone, seconded by Deputy Mayor Anderson. Any discussion?
Is this one? See, this is not numbered properly.
It's page 40. I think your ordinances might be out of order
They really-
because this is introduction.
Okay.
The final adoption comes after introductions. I think that's why.
Yeah,
It's page 40.
all right.
Excuse me, page 41. The cover page is 40.
Okay, I can see it now. This is introduction?
Yes.
This
this
is introduction.
All right.
So the public hearings will come after the
Later, yeah.
introduction.
I don't have any questions right now because I'm
Roll
just
call.
looking at it.
Roll call.
Councilwoman Perone,
Yes.
Councilwoman Whitfield,
Yes.
Deputy Mayor Anderson,
Yes.
Mayor McIntosh.
Yes.
Ordinance 2024-29, an ordinance to rename the Department of Recreation to the Department of Wellness. Can I get a motion in a second?
So moved.
Second.
Moved by Councilwoman Perone, seconded by Deputy Mayor Anderson. Any further discussion? I know we did have, discussion that, there was some, resistance, to just name it Department of Wellness. Maybe we'll go back to recreation, that's up for discussion at this point, or Department of Wellness and Recreation, after y'all look at it. So just let me know what you want to do with this one.
Yeah, for the area that it should be in, I just wanted for the record, I just think it should stay as Department of Recreation. I have not found, unless someone can give me a more, I want to say intelligent, but some more meat and potatoes to why you want to change the name other than changing it. I think recreations is the most fitting. I don't see the need to change it.
I just think if, as they're taking different departments, putting together, consolidating, I believe under that umbrella, there will be other components, such as, I'm pretty sure stuff that goes on to senior center. We get folks that come in and do activities, exercise. So I think, I'm in favor of keeping recreation, and
too.
it could be recreation and wellness, because it looks like we're consolidating, but I definitely want to see recreation there.
I'm not opposed to that, to adding it. Again, if it's, the only thing I am opposed to is adding the wellness is where is it printed? Do we have signs that are already printed somewhere now? Does this end up costing us money just to add wellness? And is it worth it? I mean, adding programs to the recreation department, absolutely, let's do that all day. But adding wellness, just so we can say we added something to it, I think we can spend more time on something more meaningful. I don't think it's necessary. It's not like a major ordeal to change it. Recreation, it speaks for itself. Wellness is a part of recreation. I don't see it in, and that's just my own thought.
Got it. Any other further discussion? And do we want to approve it with it's up to everybody if they want to do recreation and wellness or recreation, or we can table it and, everybody can look
Is it
over.
written anywhere? Is it one of our, I know we just did our signs, we just did our new.
Is-
signs.
Wait, yeah. So,
Is it, that's a question before you do your, because if it's,
Is wellness written anywhere? Is that
no,
your question?
recreation department, don't we have signs on our building doors and things like that? We just did new signs, we just,
There's a small sign outside of the recreation office. Those haven't been updated.
That's the
There's
only
only one sign that's been updated at the Kennedy Center. That's the theater manager.
okay, so not Department of Recreation, it's nowhere.
There's just one sign outside of the recreation office that says recreation.
The little placard that's on the wall.
The ones we have like in this building too,
Correct.
right?
mhm.
And is that something that's expensive to change?
No.
As to Councilwoman Perone's, point, I too would like to see recreation and wellness. So as we vote on this first reading, if we can make that amendment to include both. This way it's not confusing.
Yeah.
I'm not opposed to that.
Great.
So if I can get the support of rest of council, I would like to see that small change.
Yeah, I support that. All right,
So make a motion.
I'd like to make a motion that we amend the way it reads, Department of Wellness to Recreation and Wellness.
Second?
all right. Roll call, please.
Sorry. Councilwoman Perone,
Yes.
Councilwoman Whitfield,
Yes.
Deputy Mayor Anderson,
Yes.
Mayor McIntosh.
Yes.
Ordinance 2024-24, an ordinance to improve municipal operations and efficiency through departmental restructuring and amendments to Chapter 3, Article 3 of the Township Code relating to the Department of Police. Can I get a motion and a second?
So moved.
Second.
Moved by Councilwoman Perone, seconded by Deputy Mayor Anderson. Discussion. Oh, no, are you doing a public hearing on this one?
Oh, my apologies. I opened the public hearing on ordinance 2024-28. Anybody who wishes to come up and ask questions?
24.
I'm sorry, I looked at the wrong one. An ordinance to improve municipal, oh wait, I already did that. I'm opening the public hearing on ordinance 2024-24. Please come forward if you have any questions. With no one coming forward, I close the public hearing. Can I get the motion in a second?
So moved.
We have it, but
Wait, what
Wrong.
did I just do?
We have a motion and a
We have a
second
motion
from
already, yeah.
Oh, we
Councilwoman
did.
Perone and Deputy
Okay.
Mayor Anderson.
so discussion.
One question.
Go.
With regards to the Director of Public Safety, this resolution or ordinance rather is to change it where it would be the Chief of Police. Is that correct?
Correct.
Okay. But we already have the Chief of Police.
We do not have a chief of police.
So do we have a Director of Public Safety?
We have a public safety director.
Okay, so we will no longer have a Public Safety Director.
Correct.
We're just changing the title.
We're creating the office of chief of police.
Yeah.
And is that also a salary change?
Not.
'Cause that goes
established.
back to director and then chief. You know what I mean? Like when you start those titles, I just want to know.
So it's not a title change, it's a position change because the position of police chief and public safety director are two different things.
Correct.
A public safety director is a civilian who is a director of a department. A police chief is a sworn officer.
Right. So you're not necessarily changing the director of public safety. You're just, the responsibilities will be of the chief of police now.
Correct, and the public safety director will go away.
Okay, because Mr. Harris said we don't have a chief of police.
We
No,
don't have a
no,
chief of police, we
don't.
have a public safety
Not
director.
yet. 'Cause we didn't
Okay.
vote it- We didn't vote.
Okay,
it.
so that's what this will establish.
Yes.
So
basically.
Captain Bucks is
That's what I thought
a
was-
sworn police officer. He's a captain in the police department, but he has been acting as the public safety director.
So now he'll be the chief of police.
Now he will be the chief of police,
Okay.
and there will be no public safety director related to his particular department.
Okay,
So we'll have a fire chief, we'll have a police chief.
okay. And this goes away. Public safety goes away. Okay, thank you.
All right.
And just as I'm sorry, go ahead, Mr. Fall.
Oh, go ahead. If you have something to add to that.
Not
discussion.
to this.
Okay, all right. Roll call, please.
Councilwoman Perone,
Yes.
Councilwoman Whitfield,
Yes.
Deputy Mayor Anderson,
Yes.
Mayor McIntosh.
Yes,
Madam Mayor,
yes.
before we continue, we have to go back to
Yes.
24-29. We only voted to do the amending the name change. We didn't vote on the actual ordinance.
Gotcha,
Right.
thank
Oh.
you,
Thank you.
Yep. thank you.
Okay. Can I get a motion? Do I have to read the title again?
No.
No.
I would recommend, just for clarification of the record, read the title as amended. So the language would be an ordinance to rename the Department of Recreation to the Department of Recreation and Wellness per Deputy Mayor's motion, and which was seconded by Councilwoman Whitfield.
Okay. Councilwoman Perone,
Yes.
Councilwoman Whitfield?
Yes.
You have to make that. motion.
Ask for the, so
I
The-
thought she was reading the.
Me
it's
too.
been, so that's the title. Now you'll need a motion and a second, and then can do the roll call.
Okay. Can I get a motion in a second?
Motion to move. Yes. Second. What?
Was you
So
made the
moved,
motion?
so moved.
You second. Which one
So
you-
moved, so moved.
Okay, moved by Councilwoman Perone, seconded by Deputy Mayor Anderson. Roll call, please.
Councilwoman Perone,
Yes.
Councilwoman Whitfield,
Yes.
Deputy Mayor Anderson,
Yes.
Mayor McIntosh.
Yes.
Just give me 1 second. Ordinance 2024-29, an ordinance to rename the Department of Recreation to the Department, wait, I'm sorry, my paper moved up. Ordinance 2024-25, an ordinance replacing Chapter 252, Section 6 through 9 with Section 6 through 11, regulating disorderly conduct. I open the public hearing. Anybody wishing to come forward, please do so. With no one coming forward, I close the public hearing. Can I get a motion in a second?
Second, moved by Deputy Mayor Anderson, seconded by Mayor McIntosh. Any further discussion? Roll call, please.
Councilwoman Perone,
Yes.
Councilwoman Whitfield,
Yes.
Deputy Mayor Anderson,
Yes.
Mayor McIntosh.
Yes. All right, and for resolutions, are there any resolutions outside of 280 that we want to pull
Just
for
one,
further discussion?
unless somebody can just answer this question, but
Which one is
it's 278.
278,
Is
okay.
that these? You know,
The
is
budget
this-
transfers?
Is that this?
Yes.
It is?
Wait, let me see.
This, is that what they're talking about? I haven't found it, but that's the only one I was gonna pull, because I'm gonna ask that question. See it in
Okay, yeah, just we'll pull it and just for further clarification.
278.
And that's it?
Yeah, that's.
Anybody else want to pull any other resolutions? All right, I make a motion for consent agenda of resolution 2024-264 through 277. Resolution 2024-279. Resolution 2024-281 and 282.
Second? So move. Oh,
Wait.
that was the second.
Second.
All right. She said that.
Moved by Mayor McIntosh, seconded by Councilwoman Whitfield. Roll call, please.
Councilwoman Perone,
Yes.
Councilwoman Whitfield,
Yes.
Deputy Mayor Anderson,
Yes.
Mayor McIntosh.
Yes. I make a motion to approve the same.
So
Second.
moved.
Moved by Mayor McIntosh, seconded by Councilwoman Perone. Roll call, please.
Councilwoman Perone,
Yes.
Councilwoman Whitfield,
Yes.
Deputy Mayor Anderson,
Yes.
Mayor McIntosh.
Yes. Need a motion, 278.
Can I get a motion in a second?
270, 2024, 278.
So,
Yep.
Motion to move.
All right,
Second.
seconded, okay, moved by Councilwoman Perone, seconded by Deputy Mayor Anderson. Discussion, please. Yes, Councilwoman Perone?
Just one question. I was looking through my documents here. I know that it speaks to budget transfers from regarding monies that were not used. I just had trouble finding it in here, and I was wondering if this is the document you're speaking to.
I think that's the one.
It's wrong, and if you, oh, okay, I don't have that. I don't see that here.
That's not.
Okay. Can I see Mr. Harris? Can he, because he has it. I can just look at that. So can I look at your copy, Mr. Harris? Or does anybody else have what he has?
Yeah,
I have
everybody
it.
does.
He has it, okay. You have it, ma'am?
Yeah, I'm about to pull it. I'm about to look on the back for you.
Thank you. One sec, okay.
All right.
Thank you. Okay, I'm fine.
You're good?
Yep,
Okay.
thank you, Ms. Harris.
Anyone else for discussion? Roll call, please.
Councilwoman Perone,
Yes.
Councilwoman Whitfield,
Yes.
Deputy Mayor Anderson,
Yes.
Mayor McIntosh.
Yes.
Can I get a motion and second on resolution 2024-80?
So moved.
Second?
Moved by Deputy Mayor Anderson, seconded by Councilwoman Whitfield. Discussion?
Thank you, Mayor. In terms of this,
Can we ask Ms. Covini to come back up?
Yes.
Yes.
Okay. So you're good with this?
Yeah,
Okay.
I just wanted to see what's on there.
Good evening again. For the record, Tiana Cafoni from McManaman, Scotland and Bauman, redevelopment and bond counsel for the township.
Thank you.
All right. Thank you, Ms. Cafoni. I just wanted to clarify, I know you gave a summary of what would be expected of the planning board. I know some of the members of the planning board are on tonight, but for this would be directing the planning board to conduct an assessment on the property, correct?
Correct. Yep, and I know there was a question, I don't know who it was, of the properties. The properties are listed in the title. I don't know if the council wants me to read them, but they're in the title themselves, the addresses and blocks and lots. And so what this does is it directs the planning board to conduct the study. And functionally what that is a planner will visit the properties and do a thorough report on the existing conditions of the properties and compare that against the statutory criteria that is required in order to designate a property a redevelopment area. And it will evaluate whether or not each property meets the criteria or not, and whether or not they recommend that each property, because some could be designated and some couldn't. It's not all or nothing. So they'll go through each property and recommend whether or not they satisfy the criteria. The planning board's role is to review that report. It will be presented to them at a meeting. They can ask questions. They'll have the report in advance. They'll ask questions. Members of the public will be able to speak on it and ask questions. And then the planning board votes on whether or not they agree with the determination of the study, and whether or not, and what their recommendation to the council is. The council then gets that recommendation and can decide whether or not they agree with the planning board and decide whether or not to designate the area. The council actually is the entity that designates the area
Okay.
via resolution.
Okay, and this would just be the first step
Very first step.
in a process, then it would be followed by a redevelopment plan to
Correct. So-
reimagine the space.
Correct. So the redevelopment plan would be for only the properties that are actually designated a redevelopment area. And it will set forth the zoning and use regulations for those properties.
Okay, perfect, thank you.
You're welcome.
And I know, just for a point of information for the council, this will cost money. So we will have to allot money for the planning board to do this study. I don't know the amount, I don't know, the amount, but just that will be forthcoming as we, proceed with this.
Yeah, just so everyone knows, this part of the process is the municipality's cost. Once there is a redevelopment plan, then any redevelopers who are interested in developing the area, they have to put up escrow, and we'll enter into escrow agreements with them. And then any redevelopment agreements, any review of actual concept plans, those type of things all those costs will be borne by the redevelopers.
Question, Madam Mayor. This will allow us to designate as a redevelopment zone from Van Skyver all the way down to the Big T Marina if we choose, or is it certain properties in between?
I don't know the area well enough to answer that, but there's only certain
Only
properties.
properties that are listed.
It's, okay, because I thought I heard before that we can go
Go all the way down.
all the way
Yeah.
down, but that's not the case.
For this one, it's just the properties that are listed
Okay.
in the.
Yeah, it's
resolution.
1,
Okay.
2, 3. Yeah, it's only 3 properties.
Only those, okay.
Yes, correct. And we could always do a resolution for others as well. If there's interest, by the council, interest by the redevelopment community. So there's always the opportunity to do more. Absolutely. You can always do more. Yep.
Any other questions? Thank you so much.
You're very
Appreciate it.
welcome.
The council, I thought it was. Okay. Any further discussion? Roll call, please.
Yes.
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 So moved.
Second.
Moved by Deputy Mayor Anderson, seconded by Councilwoman Whitfield. Any discussion? Roll call, please.
Councilwoman Perone,
Yes.
Councilwoman Whitfield,
Yes.
Deputy Mayor Anderson,
Yes.
Mayor McIntosh.
Yes.
Can I get a motion and a second to adopt the October 15th minutes?
So moved.
Second.
Moved by Deputy Mayor Anderson, seconded by Councilwoman Whitfield. Discussion. Roll call, please.
Councilwoman Perone,
Yes.
Councilwoman Whitfield,
Yes.
Deputy Mayor Anderson,
Yes.
Mayor McIntosh.
Yes. All right, we can move on to your updates.
I can find them. Okay, so we put out the advertisement for 2025 professional services. The advertisement says they should be received by November 27th. So that's been posted on the website for both the planning and the zoning board. The budget hearings are scheduled for November 13th and 14th from 2:30 to 5:30. That's what was advertised, but in all likelihood, it's not going to last that full time. Other than that, I wanted to discuss the 2025 reorganization meeting. I wanted to see the date that the township council would like to have the actual meeting. I believe the first is on a Tuesday.
No, the the 7th would be the first Tuesday. So that's the last, the 7th would be the first Tuesday of January.
It's supposed to be within the first 7 days, but because there's no change in council, you can pretty much put it at any time that week. So I just want input as to when you guys would like to do the reorg meeting.
Mayor,
Yes.
I would suggest Tuesday the 7th.
Okay.
I support that.
You have any particular day?
No, I'm
Seven.
okay with that.
Regular time, regular council meeting time?
Mhm.
Or 6? 6 p.m.
We're gonna do 6. Perhaps.
We could do 6.
Yeah,
Six.
because it's reworks and.
Right. And we are allowed to extend to the 7th,
Correct.
because there is no change in
Correct.
guard.
Well, it doesn't really have to be on the first day. It could be in the first 7 days.
Okay. All right. So we'll do the 7th
Okay,
at 6
perfect.
p.m.
The only other thing,
at JFK.
at JFK.
Yes.
Okay, and I just wanted to make the council aware, I would like to start looking for a new agenda management software. I just want to get something that's a little bit more user-friendly and that makes sense for my department. The contract ends in the end of December. I'm just making you guys aware.
End of this December?
End of December of 2025.
Okay.
That's it for my report.
Can you give us just a slight recap? I mean, we had a very busy day yesterday.
Yes, we did.
And I know some people, we had, extended waits, but I
Right.
think, I just want to say, from me that I think, the clerk's office did a stellar job yesterday.
Yeah.
Obviously there's some complications with the county and things of that nature. So just like a quick recap.
Yeah, of course. So our polls were open from 6 a.m. to 8 p.m. All of our polling locations had an extremely high turnout. It was a fantastic election. Most of the residents were fantastic and understanding, and it was a very exciting election here in the township. So I wanted to thank everybody for all of their patience with the elections. Some of you may not realize, but the clerk is very connected with the Board of Elections. Technically, the election is their responsibility. They're responsible for hiring and firing the poll workers. They're responsible for procuring the polling machines, which is where I think a lot of the problem lied. But I just think it was a perfect storm of circumstances, and I appreciate everybody's grace with the whole situation.
And do we have a number, how many people voted in Willingboro?
I don't.
Okay, that's fine. Anything else for the clerk's update? Is the dog,
The rabies clinic, I believe, is scheduled for January 8th.
okay.
We sent the notice of intent. Well, we also did send the information to the Public Information Department, so they're going to be drafting stuff for us.
Okay. And is there a location for that?
Oh, it's at the firehouse. So we're going to change it up this year. Just to inform the residents, I think I said this at the last council meeting, but the reason I'm moving it is because statute requires the rabies vaccination be good through November. And right now, the rabies the rabies clinic is in November, so sometimes people are over-vaccinating their dogs. This gives it a lot of flexibility. And it just makes a little bit more sense.
In terms of timelines?
Correct. When you do it like that, sometimes people wind up paying late fees, and I don't want anybody feeling like we're being punitive or anything like that. It's an improvement I'm trying to make to my department.
Thank you. Moving on to unfinished business. Do we have any updates about the pools?
They're closed for the winter.
What? No ice skating?
No, Mr. Doherty did explain,
Yes.
the situations with the pools.
Mhm.
The long-term conversation, with the governing body, and it doesn't have to be had tonight,
Right.
is whether we're going to invest the money to do a short-term investigation, or are we just going to acknowledge that we need to do something, holistically, at least one of the pools, and just drive forward in that direction, put a plan together and move forward in that direction.
And our pools are over 50 years.
They're 65+ years old.
So that's definitely a consideration that, we have to keep on the top of our minds. We don't want to run into the pool season and try to make this decision. So for the rest of this year, I'm gonna keep that on the agenda, just, so it's still in our minds. Because I know that people enjoy the pool in the
Yeah.
summer. So we want to kind of curtail and plan,
Right.
maybe to have one pool stay open and build whatever we need to somewhere else.
Right.
Or, but it's just something to keep on. We want to keep this conversation open because I know it becomes a hot topic.
Yes, Mayor, and as Mr. Doherty explained, the pools are operable. So we can keep one of them open, but the quotes that we have received to do the comprehensive studies have both come in at $100,000. And I don't know that we want to spend $100,000 to get a report that we need to fix our pools,
Right.
because we already know
We
that.
gotta fix our pools, right? Okay, fair enough. 2025 budget hearings. Again, what date was that, Mr. Fault?
It's November 13th and 14th. It's from hours of 2:30 to 5:30, but in all likelihood, we won't go that entire time.
And these will be available on Zoom in
Correct.
person. So the public is welcome to attend. This is a time where the departments present what their forecasted
Their request.
ask for the next year.
Yes.
So I think it is a good exercise in civic duty. It'll be available on YouTube also
Mhm.
after
What's the hours again?
2:30.
2:30 to 5:30. I advertised a broad range just to give us flexibility, just in case it does go over, but I'm told we don't usually spend that much time.
And that's fine. But I just want to make sure the public's aware that it will be available for their review. If they can't come in person, it will be
Mhm.
on YouTube so they can look at their leisure.
And just to be clear that it is not the 2025 budget presentation,
Right.
it is just the departmental requests to the township manager for what their line items are for next year.
Okay.
One question just for the community in case somebody's gonna ask, are we gonna allow any questions from the public, or is just a listening kind of a type of a session for the community?
There will be a portion for public comments.
It will be, okay.
Good question. All right, anything else for new business? Councilman Whitfield.
Mayor, just on that budget hearing, I would just, Mr. Harrison, I'm sure that you expressed this to your staff, but if there are things needed to improve your departments, I would just ask that those things are included in those budget hearing presentations. I know sometimes, things are noted that things haven't been updated or items need to be procured, but we haven't received requests for those. So now is the time.
Thank you.
Also, just to piggyback off Councilwoman Whitfield is, one of the things that we have spoken about is training for the employees. So we get employees that come into the department, they learn by what you teach them. But I think so that we can be more efficient for the community is if we actually give them training.
Yes.
So as you guys do your budgets as well, consider training for all employees throughout the office. However you decide to do it, whether when they walk in the door, how you do it. But we would like to see, more educated employees based on legitimate certified training.
Bless you.
Because you may bring somebody into the office, but whoever's training them, they may not be able to allocate so much time because they're doing other things. So I think it'll just bring a better feel, a better fit for our residents and for them themselves as they advance down their career paths.
Okay, thank you. All right, we are now at public comment. Any public comments? Please state your name.
New business.
Oh, did I do new?
So we just
Oh,
have
I'm
to-
sorry. Oh, yeah, I apologize. Now we're on to new business. My apologies.
That's okay. So every year we are required by the state of New Jersey to complete what is called a best practice inventory, and it's a questionnaire sent to us by the Department of Community Affairs, asking if we do this, if we have this, if we have these policies in place. And depending on our response, our percentages determines what percentage of state aid that we're going to receive from Trenton. We did do our 2024 municipal best practices inventory. We scored very well, Ms. Diggs. Say that again? 45.5 out of 50? So there's 52 questions. We got 45.5. So the percentage qualifies us to receive full funding from the state in the amount of about $3 million, $3.8 million. But part of the requirement is that we do have to have a public discussion, at least touching on the best practice inventory and answer any questions that the governing body may have. And as I highlighted earlier, that was one of the motivations for putting in place the resolution for a preference to purchase alternate fuel vehicles. That was one of the questions on the best practice inventory, which prompted our utilization of this new practice in Willingboro. So do you have any questions or?
Any questions? Go ahead, Councilwoman Whitfield.
Thank you, Mayor. Well, congratulations, Mr. Harrison and the departments, Ms. Diggs, on scoring so highly in that best practice survey. We got a very high score, but the ones that we missed, is there any plan to remediate or to improve further so we can just get better? Oh, we don't.
Have it as perspective.
Might as well just come on up.
Like everybody else. Like, you want to be young from the back of the.
Up to the mic.
Oh, man. Okay, so there were 41 questions that were in this category called core competence. We score 41. We had 100% on that section. In the best practice sections, there were 11 questions, but those questions each scored 0.5, now 1. So you might say, oh, you had 11, so you miss, we got 5.5, so you miss a 4.5 or whatever, no.
Okay.
But those questions was rated at 0.5, so we missed only 0.5. And I have it as perspective because the purchasing department is working on it.
Okay.
Yeah.
So there is a plan to improve so
Yeah.
that we can get that full point.
Exactly.
Okay, great. Thank you.
Oh, you're welcome.
Thank you. Good.
Mhm.
Any, no, okay.
No.
For new business, do we have any, things coming up? Any activities coming up?
Oh, you know what? Thank you, Miss Jackson. Miss Jackson, I forgot about Miss Jackson. No, it's not. I had a note too at the bottom of my paper, Miss Jackson.
Yes. Good evening, Mayor, Deputy Mayor, members of council and residents. So for the month of November, next Tuesday, we do want to remind you that we will be hosting a special planning board meeting at 6 p.m. at the Kennedy Center. All are invited to discuss the results of the master plan survey and connect and converse about how Willingboro will look over the next 10 years. So we do invite people to, our residents, to be a part of that, and light refreshments will be served. On November 18th, we will serve as the host for the 26th Malcolm Bernard HBCU Fair. And that fair will be held from 8:30 to 2 at the Kennedy Center. And we are encouraging all of our high school juniors and seniors to attend that. Last year, we had a great response in attendance, so we're hoping for the same this year. And then on Tuesday, November 19th, there will be a mobile cancer screening van at the Willingboro Public Library from 9 to 3. Mammograms are going to be available to uninsured and insured for those 40 and up, and registration is available on the library website. The Reva Foster Senior Center will be the site for a special session to assist residents with the Anchor Property Tax Relief Program. There will be representatives available to assist residents from 10 to 1 on Tuesday, November the 19th. So we hope that our residents will take advantage of that. And then on Friday, December 6th, which is the first Friday in December, we will kick off our holiday season with our annual tree lighting. So we're looking forward to that opportunity. That will begin at 7 p.m. We have received confirmation that the Willingboro High School Marching Band, as well as a few local artists and performers, will be joining us. So we're excited about that opportunity. And then December 13th will be our Jingle Jangle Jam, and December 14th, we will have the Santa Run. And all of this information will be sent to our residents. The holiday mailer is scheduled to go to our residents at the end of this month. And we do, because we won't be before you again until the first Tuesday in December, we will also be having our annual holiday house decorating contest. So we're looking forward to seeing our residents decorate their homes in a festive way. And the deadline to enter for that will be December 6th. So that's it for the year.
Yeah.
And of course, we always encourage people to visit our website, the weekly YouTube channel. And just to address, I believe you inquired about the brush fires at the Mill Creek Park. We do include that information on our weekly, as well as on our website and our Facebook channel. So we do encourage people to use those vehicles or tap into those vehicles to make sure that they have the most updated information.
Yeah.
Right.
Thank you. Okay, we're good. And now we have public comment. Please state your name and address. You have 4 minutes. Public comment is now open.
Thank you. I'm Mary Jane Breen from 41 Gamewell Lane. I'm a 50-year resident of Willingboro, and I just wanted to thank our police department and our EMTs for the wonderful job they did on October 3rd. My husband had a medical emergency and they came to the house within minutes. I was shocked at how fast the EMTs got to our house, and here they were filling up with gas when the call came in, and they were very close to my house. And when they got my husband out of the house, the police were there waiting to help. So I just wanted to thank everyone for the great service. I always like to thank all the good things and not just complain when things don't go right. So that was the first thing. The second thing I wanted to mention was the last couple of days, there have been a lot of drones flying around on Gamewell Lane, and they were hovering like right around my house and about 6 houses on either side. 3 o'clock in the afternoon and then again at 7:30 at night yesterday and today. And I wondered if this is happening more and more, or was it just a fluke occurrence? That was it. Thank you, guys, and have a great November.
Thank you, Ms. Mary Jane. Anyone else for public comments? I see someone online.
Yes, Mayor. Maddie Mallory.
Ms. Mallory, if you're speaking, okay,
Good evening, Maddie Mallory, Hudson Place.
gotcha.
All right. Just a few things. Yesterday, I went to pay my property taxes, and we're often reminded that even though our taxes are increased, it's not our municipal taxes. So I noticed that what I paid in August and what I paid yesterday was a difference. So I decided to come home and do some arithmetic on my own. And I also asked the clerk at the tax office for the rate of the taxes last year. And she said that the rate was 4.285 per 100. And that's how it's calculated. So the rate this year is 4.317 per 100. So to tell us that, and I'm only talking about municipal taxes. So for us to be reminded that our municipal taxes are not increasing is not accurate, because I did the arithmetic when I came home, and of course the municipal taxes do go up. So I think we need to clarify that with the taxpayers and, not mislead taxpayers that our municipal taxes stay the same when in fact they do not. So moving right along, the next thing is, I think to change the name from Department of Inspections to Commission or Community Development could be confusing for the residents unless something goes out to clarify this. Because, what's the point of changing it if it's the Department of Inspections? Then this other part that we want to include maybe should be a separate department instead of changing the Department of Inspections. The other thing is, have we considered a space for the cheerleaders at the Kennedy Center? Because I don't know the gentleman's name, but he mentioned this at the last meeting that, we have cheerleaders that are exceeding and getting all kinds of awards, but we have not set aside a space for them at the Kennedy Center so that they can practice. And thank you, Councilwoman Perrone, for reminding the rest of council that decisions are based upon the 5 members of the council and not one member. And on that note, I'm finished for this evening. Thank you.
Thank you, Ms. Mallory.
Okay, Aaron's iPhone.
Good evening, everyone. Can you hear me?
Yes.
All right, good evening, council. Aaron Mitchell, 28 Burnley Place. Councilwoman Whitfield, earlier you made a comment about keeping the community clean and safe. And not too long ago, Councilman Anderson made a comment about training the employees, and I 100% agree with you, Councilman Anderson. Now, regarding Councilwoman's Whitfield comment, when you made that comment, I kind of scoffed at it because I don't feel safe in the township, and it's because of the actions of the employees who have made it unsafe for me, especially through late January through April of this year. And then recently, in late September of this year, when your employee, Sean Scriven, code enforcement officer, and threatened to harm one of my dogs. And then about 2 weeks ago, Mr. Scriven purposely blocked me in my driveway using his township code enforcement vehicle to prevent me from reversing out of my driveway and accessing the street, just to stare me down, to try to intimidate me. And I know I felt threatened at that moment and didn't know what to do. And I wonder, what would you guys have done? And how would that make you feel if you were me? Having someone block you in your driveway, purposely, eyeballing you, staring you down. You know? So I haven't felt that safe at all in this township over this past year. I haven't felt safe in my own home. And I don't every day when I come home for my therapy appointments. I have to worry about, hey, is Mr. Scriven at home in his township vehicle like he is every day, multiple times a day? Is he going to harass me? Is he going to threaten me? What is he going to do? I've already communicated these actions of your employees towards you several times this year with no response. The safety of myself, my family, and my property is important to me, and I will protect myself accordingly. And I won't take any actions, whether they're verbal or physical, from your employees like a grain of salt. I will take them seriously. So, and I mean that from employees like Mr. Scriven, who in 2023 stole taxpayer dollars from the hardworking residents of Willingboro by coming home at 9 a.m. and maybe sometimes at 10 a.m. and staying home often till 2, 3 o'clock in the afternoon, playing Xbox Live, PlayStation Live. And I can listen to it with his windows open in his little converted garage instead of working with the township vehicle parked outside his home. Yet I said nothing. You know, but now he accuses me of telling on him when I've never done so. But because now he's making threatening actions towards me, I feel it's important to let the public know. These are the type of employees you have here. These are the employees that you have working for this township who do things like this, yet you guys have done nothing about it. So I feel it's important to put this on the record, to put it out to the public, to let the public know, and to know publicly, this is what's happening and this is what's going on. And you have employees and township resources and time paid for by tax dollars who are abusing the system and then making threatening actions towards members of the public like myself, who's done nothing towards them. And that's all I really have to say. And Councilwoman Perrone, I thank you for being thorough, because I've watched you throughout the years serving on council and always asking the right questions. And as someone who's worked in government for years, I commend you on asking the right questions, because a lot of people are afraid to. And that's my time.
Thank you, Mr. Mitchell. Anyone else online?
Yes, Mayor Brown.
Okay.
Good evening once again. Good evening, Mayor, Deputy Mayor, council members, and residents.
Good evening.
I just wanted to bring up about the renovation or the new pool. It can provide vital space for cool off, a location for kids to hang out and not get into trouble. Great way for them to exercise. It brings members of the community together. Great employment opportunity for the community members, and encourage people to be physically active, which can reduce the risk of chronic disease. During the process, we have found ways to reduce the cost. Either increase admission into the pool to help with the paying back of the money, a renovation or new pool, or with all the resident. We can also invite some elected official to help with the cost, because the pool is part of recreation. I also have a question about the redevelopment. I'm very happy about the redevelopment. It can benefit us, chance of quality of life, local economic investment potential. I wanted to ask, are we talking about residential developmental or commercial developmental? Could you make the different, speak about the different areas? Thank you so much.
Thank you, Ms. Brown.
Okay, former Mayor Martin Knock.
Again, good evening, and Martin Dockman Lane. I want to thank Mr. Harris. Our light that was down has finally gotten up. PSE&G has put it back up, even though it took several months to do that. But it brings an important question. That particular pole light obviously is probably a LED, is brighter, it looks great. And I know you've been working on that. Is there a timetable for these lights to be rolled out across the township, and especially over here in the country club section, Windsor Country Club? Because they make a great difference. When you come down the street, you can clearly see the remarkable difference of lighting. So, and that was my only question, and also I'd like to thank everybody for coming out yesterday and letting their voice be heard. The county is looking into all the issues surrounding the election process and the long lines and all. There's actually an investigation going on. And so I'll leave it there because it's above our pay grade. It's really a county issue. But again, thank everybody for coming out. We have a remarkable turnout yesterday. Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Knock.
Okay, I did see iPhone 10.
All right, we're gonna have someone in, if they'll come back on, we'll put them in queue. You can come.
Hello, my name is Sade, 10 Niagara Lane. I just wanted to make a comment, or not a comment, but at 10 Niagara Lane, in front of our sidewalk is actually lifting, and someone tripped. So we kind of want to get that sorted out some way, somehow, before someone else gets hurt. And then another thing is, I really like the name, the Recreation and Wellness. I think that's a great rebranding for Willingboro. I don't know any other township that has that, but I think it would be great for us to kind of start something like that, like, I don't know, like trendy, which is good for the community. Thank you.
Thank you, Ms. Sade. Anyone else online?
And we cannot get iPhone 10.
Okay. All right, at this point. Is he on there? Okay, he's on there now. If you're speaking, we cannot hear you. You're on mute.
Hello?
Yes.
Oh, good evening.
Good
This
evening.
is Ed Tyson, 2 Babbitt Lane. I'm calling because for some reason, it seems like every other trash day, they come down Blueberry, make a left on Babbitt, and don't back up to pick up the trash at 2 or 4. Sometimes they miss at 6 and 8 also. And I've had to call in countless times to have them come back. And it's kind of frustrating because if you don't catch that at the end of the day, your trash is not there. You know, I just think that I don't know what's going on with the collector.
Okay.
That's it.
I thank you, Mr. Tyson.
Mm-hmm.
All right. Anyone else online? All right.
Tarina Williams.
Thank you. Good evening, Mayor McIntosh, Deputy Mayor Anderson, Councilwoman Whitfield, Councilwoman Perron, Mr. Harris, and sorry, I keep forgetting your name. Township Clerk and residents, Serena Williams. I'm reaching out because November is Epilepsy Awareness Month. Please visit the website epilepsy.org to get more details on this, because a lot of people have seizures, and in the event that someone has a seizure, whether it be a grand mal seizure, which is they could collapse to the ground or go into a daze, and they come in all sorts of manners, you'd be able to know what to do to help that person in need. The color for epilepsy to help spread awareness is purple. So if and when you want to support, please wear that purple. It's also Diabetes Awareness Month. So everyone, I'm sure, knows someone who has diabetes, because it's unfortunate that it strikes so many different people. I also wanted to take this opportunity to express my condolences to the son who lost not only his mother, but his grandmother, and the neighborhood that was just so struck by the unfortunate surprise and tragedy of these two innocent lives that were lost. I wanted to also compliment the hard work, all the different hardworking men and women of our township. Always a joy to be around, and knowing that this is going to be the only meeting of November, I just want to wish everyone a happy Thanksgiving. Be safe, be blessed, and always know, no matter what we're going through, there's always something to give thanks for. Speaking of thanks, it's also Hunger and Homeless Awareness Month. So it'll help us. May we do what we can, whether it be volunteer at our local nonprofit organization. Special shout out and thanks to the Beloved Project. I really admire all that you do, Miss Archer and the rest of the team. And also have the Food Bank of South Jersey. Also, thank you to Ms. Foster, Director of the Community Service Department and Senior Services. I'm in awe about the amount of activities that you all do, as well as the local Parks and Recreation Department. I'm like, sometimes I wonder, where were these activities when I was their age? when I was this very young and so on. So special thanks. I'm sure I'm going to forget something. And oh yes, last but not least, I want to congratulate Senator Andy Kim on his victory. Congratulations, as well as to Dr. Herb Conaway and and our new representative for our district. I'm so sorry, I forget the name, but congratulations to our local elected officials. May God continue to richly bless you and your family. Thanks again. Be blessed, everyone.
Thank you, Ms. Williams.
You're welcome, Mayor McIntosh.
All right, seeing no one else, public comment is now closed. Okay. First I did want to acknowledge Miss Mary Jane, and the kudos to our EMS and police department. Thank you for expressing that in the public. The great job that they do. So, and I want to personally, on behalf of council, thank everyone, from our fire department, EMS, our public safety department. So thank you. Drones. Do we know anything about drones or excessive use of drones throughout the township? Again, can we just keep an eye on that, or a gauge on that? Miss Mallory brought up property taxes. Mr. Harris, do we have an explanation why there would be a discrepancy in the tax rate, or clarify what that means if she experienced an increase in the tax rate?
So again, I don't really know what number Miss Mallory has reflected on her municipal tax bill, but our municipal taxes do go up or down depending on what the tax rate is. Just for clarity, the way that the tax year is broken up, it's broken up into 4 quarters. The first quarters being like through February. So it's really strange. So the first 2 quarters of your current tax bill really are the last portion of 2024. And then in the middle of 2025, it like transitions. So there will be a movement in between your fourth quarter. Am I getting the months right? Right. So between what you pay in August and then what your next tax bill, there should be some shift in that number. And if she's comparing those two numbers, there will be a variation because the tax bills don't run January to December. They kind of run in line with the state's budget, half in one portion of the year and half in another portion of the year. So if you're looking at your tax bill, it is better for you to look at 2 consecutive months in the same, look at Q1 and Q2 and not look at Q1 and Q4 because there will be some discrepancies there.
And why that would be because it's a different year.
Correct. So again, I don't know what two numbers she's actually comparing. But our municipal tax rate does go down based on the budget amounts.
Right.
And we did see a 2-cent decrease in the municipal portion of, right, and then the county went up and the school board went up. So in her overall percentage, there's going to be an increase, but it's not necessarily associated with the municipal portion of the budget.
Right, I just want to clarify that she's stating that she specifically looked at the municipal rates. I just want to ensure, I know we do preach that we did not go up and we made decisions not to go up. I just want to make sure, as residents look at their bills, that that's reflective, of it. And perhaps, with Ms. Mallory, there's some, misunderstanding, but I just want to make sure that we're clear, we're representing properly that, our taxes did not go up. Also, Ms. Mallory brought up, she just wants to make sure the community is clear on, as we're changing these names, that it's, if we do change the name, that it's clearly represented to the community and clear. Also, do we have any update on the cheerleaders or making room for them at the JFK Center? And I understand there's some complication that probably needs to be said, expressed. It's still there. We still have a cheerleading organization. Okay. Okay. So we'll just keep that on the radar, because I don't want to dismiss that group. I know, but I do understand the complication as groups start to separate. Okay. All right, so we'll just try to work that out. Okay. Next we had Mr. Mitchell. Mr. Harris, I
Mayor,
do.
can I just note one
Yes,
thing for the
yes.
record, please? As far as the meeting tonight, there have been no rice notices to any employees, so I want to be sure that we do not discuss any employees specifically
Okay.
from council or the township.
Agree.
And we are not, but I just want to say that I did receive Mr. Mitchell's email. He did email me on this matter. I did have a discussion with the department director, and I will let you know, if you don't know already, almost all of our municipal vehicles have some type of GPS
Right.
tracking mechanism, so we know where they are Not that we use it as a policing mechanism,
But it's there.
but if there's some investigation that needs to be done, we know where they are, what times of the day, if they're parked at any place for an extended period of time. We're on top of that.
Right. And just in general, to make sure, our residents are not harassed, just and this is a generally speaking, that they do feel safe and secure and that there's no threats and harassing happening from anyone, from the township to our residents. So just be mindful in general. And we do want to take that seriously.
Yes,
Okay.
but they are neighbors and sometimes.
Yeah, no, understood, but
Right.
but I mean, we just have to make clear that that's not
Of course.
acceptable at this township.
Yes, and just for the record, it is a policy that inspectors do not do inspections in the parks that they live in.
Mhm.
So if he had a particular issue on his property, another inspector outside of that park would do that work.
Okay, thank you. And I'm sure, Mr. Mitchell will provide an update or, if there's anything else happens. Yeah, just want to take that seriously.
Yes.
Ms. Brown, I have a note for renovation of the pool, but I didn't capture the question. Okay.
Yeah, just general comments.
General comment, okay, got that. And redevelopment for we're looking at commercial for those,
Correct.
but there's possible residential that may, but focusing on priority commercial. Mr. Knock, gave you kudos for repairing the light on his street, and also asked for a timetable, for the lighting across the township.
So there are 400 and something lights or something like that. There's a lot of lights. The LED lighting replacement is a partnership that we entered in with PSC&G. It's going to be a multi-year project from now until completion. We can submit requests, I think it's like 9 at a time, and they do those 9, and then they'll take the next 9 and we'll keep going kind of street by street. But again, it is dependent on their availability, their supplies and all of that other good things, because it's not an emergent situation. So it's just kind of as it's going to roll along. Thank you.
24 lead time. Are we in queue though? So I know if it's 20, are we constantly populating that queue?
Yes.
Okay. All right. So there should be some, and are the 9, we're doing 9 at a time?
Packer, which was submitted back in January. Those were completed, and we just submitted another list of 9. There's also Veterans Parkway, that's in queue. So there's a lot of things that are in queue. We just finished them, okay. So yeah, we're pushing along. So once we finish one phase, we move on to the next phase.
Okay. Thank you. Also, Ms. Sade, 10 Niagara Lane. Sidewalks are lifting. I know we're having some issues across, Garfield East and different parks. What can be done about that sidewalk lifting?
So I believe Mr. Laurie took her name, and we will have our DPW go out and look at that and see what the situation is and then address it accordingly.
Okay, thank you. And Mr. Tyson on Babbitt, having issues with the trash company, I guess backing up or making sure they're addressing his address.
Yeah, so I will have our DPW follow up with Republic. That is a route issue. And just to make sure that, make them aware of it, that this is happening, then they can follow up with the driver to make sure they're completing the route efficiently.
You'll have the address?
To Babbitt Lane.
Okay. All right. And Ms. Williams also just made us aware of Homeless and Hunger Awareness Month, Epilepsy Awareness Month, and Diabetes Awareness Month. Is there anything else that
You want to speak about Ed Tyson, with the trash, you said, you spoke about it already?
Yeah, we just did.
That's all I have.
Yep. Anything else? All right. Moving on to council comments. Anybody like to begin?
Yes, Madam Mayor. Just want to thank everyone for coming out. I want to acknowledge, let me see, Gary B. Lowry III. Happy belated birthday, which was yesterday. Congratulations to Detective Elijah Hart. He received the Emmett Smith Law Enforcement Award from New Chapter. So I want to congratulate him there. Also congratulate Captain Harry for her selection to the FBI Academy. I want to mention the Williams twins, Tarina and her mom. They will be relocating, so they will be sorely, sorely missed, but they promise to stay tuned. Had the opportunity to participate in the ribbon cutting at Broido Park. Great job. Our fire department tested out the equipment before the children got on it. So it worked out, but it was very nice, very job well done of the all-inclusive park. The trunk or treat, I had the opportunity to attend. You know, I saw the Care Bears, the mayor and Councilwoman Whitfield participating very, very well. Very, very well attended. Each year it tends to continue to grow. Congratulations to all of the local elected officials, Senator Andy Kim, Congressman Herb Conway, Dr. Felicia Hobson, and her running mate Tyrell Burrell being put back in as commissioners. And thank you to Everett, his staff, my colleagues. We ran around yesterday like chickens, but you know, overall, it was for the interest of the community, and we saw it not robbery with the assistance of our local municipal chair, Martin Knox, who was all over the place and so forth. But I just want to thank everybody who participated yesterday so that, you know, we were able to get through the day.
Thank you.
Yes?
I said thank you.
Oh, you're welcome. And the last thing, Everett, for the record, Dr. Worthy is excused this evening because she is traveling.
Okay.
It wasn't mentioned at the beginning of the meeting. Thank you and have a good night.
Thank you, Deputy Mayor. Anyone else? No? Councilwoman Whitfield?
Thank you, Mayor. I just wanted to reiterate that what Ms. Jackson highlighted, that there will be a planning board meeting on the 12th, next Tuesday. It will take place at the JFK Center, and we will be discussing the master plan. The planning board has been hard at work on gathering community info, taking surveys and suggestions on how to move forward as a town. So I encourage all residents to come out and participate in that planning board meeting at the JFK Center. Information is online, and you can get updates in the app as well. It's on the calendar. Also, I wanted to say thank you as well to Everett and his team for their support and management of the election yesterday. Also, I want to thank our Willingboro residents for coming out and voting in all forms. We had tremendous turnout at early voting, tremendous turnout day of voting, and quite a few mail-in ballots that were sent. So I just want to thank Willingboro for showing up, for letting our voice be heard. When we vote, we get power as a community. That helps us to advocate as elected officials on behalf of you to higher offices, which we have some great folks that were reelected and seated in different offices on higher levels than our township council here. So thank you for that. Thank you for doing your part. And it means more than just going out, you know, on that one day. It really does help us to advocate for more dollars, to advocate for more services, and to get what Willingboro deserves. And when we turn out, they respond. So thank you all for that. Otherwise, I just want to say, you know, protect your peace, protect our community. I know some folks may be fearful or discouraged or, you know, things with the turnout of the election.
But I just encourage you to stay encouraged, get involved, and help affect change where it matters most, which is right here in Willingboro. That's all I have to say tonight. Thank you.
Thank you very much. Go ahead, Councilwoman.
Thank you. I just want to echo all the congratulatories that Mayor Anderson had spoken about. I too am proud of you all. And in addition to the Rodeo Park, excellent job to the Recreation Department and all the parties that played a role in putting it together. I did receive feedback from a few parents that I know that do have children with special needs, and they really appreciate the park that was put together. I had a lot of fun playing in the park, to be honest, as well. So thank you for that. And just in closing, I want to not to forget our veterans. I know Veterans Day is coming up next week, Monday. It is unfortunate that it was not supported this year for council to have a parade and just to honor all of our veterans. And I just want, one voice, one councilwoman, but I want to let all of our staff members, I know we have quite a few staff members that are veterans, quite a few residents that are sitting military veterans. And my dad, again, he served in Vietnam War and Korean War, and I know that the people who step out to make sure that we have a better country to live in or safe, and the programs that we have are those people that step out in the battlefield. And I don't take that lightly. I take it 100% with appreciation, and I really wanted to show that to you along with a few community members. So I'm just hoping that next year, perhaps council, and again, maybe the township manager, if you see that council is not supporting it, perhaps you can fit it into some of the events that you do for the year, just to remember them. And lastly, we all know Willingboro was designed for veterans to be able to come home and buy an affordable home to live in, a nice place. So, I just want us to not get sidetracked on other things that are going on, that are great things going on in Willingboro, but let's not forget our veterans. So in closing, thank you. And I salute you to our veterans of Willingboro.
Thank you. Just a couple of things in terms of agendas, and as we're closing out the year, I do ask council just to, prior to meetings, review the emails, review the agenda, so that if there's any things that need to be worked out prior, that you do that, and if we just have a more robust and efficient conversation. And I think things can be worked out in between and brought to the thing and agreed upon. So I just ask that, if something's missing, then, we'll apologize, but whatever's sent out, please review, especially the restructuring. That's a very important thing. That's not done in the dark, never been done in the dark. But I just want to make sure we're all reviewing it, because I think there's legitimate concern. That's why it took so long to come to fruition. But I think, everybody's input is definitely needed and wanted. Also, I do want to just ask the community to say a prayer for the son of the deceased member that we indicated earlier. This child is left with no parents and no grandparents. So I just ask for a little bit of prayers for him. Also, I did also want to acknowledge the election yesterday. I know there's different feelings, and I think, they're all legitimate. People have their reason for voting who they vote for. There's people that are very happy, there's people that are very sad, and a lot of people in between, and that's okay. I just want to make sure as a community we still stick together, because we are a community. We are for whatever reason, we're in this place together, and we need each other to build a strong community. So, I don't want to see presidential politics disrupt the unity of Willingboro, especially when local government and, state government is very important also. So just keep in mind, you're still your neighbor's keeper. You might disagree on some things, but you're still your neighbor's keeper. So I just want to make that statement and ask the community to keep that in mind. Also a great turnout election. I know there were lines. I know it seemed inconvenient for a lot of people, but that's democracy. This is civic duty. Sometimes you will stand in line. Are there areas of improvement that the county can make? Absolutely. But it was great to see people doing their civic duty, and even with some of the uncomfortable. The weather was sunny and hot, or a little bit more heated for November, but people had persistence and fortitude. And to me, it was just very great to see people out and exercising their right to vote. With that, I think that's all. And I apologize. There's something else. I know Ms. Williams had forgot to state that there's a Willingboro Seventh-day Adventist Church annual Thanksgiving luncheon on Saturday, November 23rd of this year at 12:30. This will be held, not on there, held at their church, Seventh-day Adventist Church, but 12:30, November 23rd. And it's to support the township's public service workers and veterans. And as Councilwoman Perrone had stated about our veterans also, please understand the full council does support our veterans. This was a hiccup in process. However, we did support it, and comments and Councilman Anderson also made some suggestions, but nothing was done on purpose to prevent a parade or prevent any services to the veterans. So I just want to make that clear for the record. But happy Veterans Day, which will be celebrated on November 11th. And we definitely do appreciate our veterans. Councilman Anderson.
The address for the Seventh-day Adventist event is at 201 Veterans Parkway. And I also forgot, blame it on the head, not the heart, but congratulations to Mike Bird, who won the one seat over on the school board.
All right, thank you. All right, I make a motion for adjournment.
Second?
Roll call.
Excuse me. Councilwoman Perrone?
Yes.
Councilwoman Whitfield?
Yes.
Deputy Mayor Anderson? Mayor McIntosh?
Yes. Thank you. What time is it? Meeting adjourned at 9:42.